Hello. How's your day going? It is Thursday. Thankful Thursday. What are you thankful for today? I am thankful that even though it's hot, it's beautiful outside. Um, yeah, it's not raining. I have spent most of my time inside though today, working on stuff. My eyes feel like my contacts are dried on because I've been sitting in this room with a ceiling fan. I need to be out of here, I think, or go get some eye drops. Anyway, do you have a need to always be right? I have a question for you. Are you someone who likes to argue? Or are you someone who likes to sit and listen to what others have to say? So we are inclined to satisfy our gluttonous craving to be right. That is a quote, and it's so true. I mean, little kids want to be right. Adults want to be right. And I don't know, in a lot of marriages, there are issues because you want to be right and you want your spouse to acknowledge that you are right. My husband and I, this used to be a screen porch that I'm sitting in, and when we were talking about building the screen porch and where the stairs were going to be, because we had stairs going out of either side, and how they were going to be done, we spent, I can't even tell you how many weeks or couple months that summer discussing how we wanted those stairs to go. And it just always ended up in an argument. Well, we figured out right before we put the stairs in that we both were thinking the exact same thing, but we weren't giving each other the time to listen and understand because, men and women just think so differently. So we have learned a lot in just taking that time to really understand what each other are talking about. We even had that last night. He was trying to explain something to me, and I'm like, I don't get what you're trying to say. And he finally said it in a way I'm like, oh, well, yeah, I totally agree with that. But I didn't understand how you were saying it. And we find that a lot. We've been married for 37 years. And we find that a lot, that we just think so differently. And I can't change the way he thinks. He can't change the way I think. We just need to take the time to understand how each other think. And not focus on being right, because it's not always about being right. A lot of us respond to things in our lives because of past experiences that we've had. A little bird. If you haven't noticed, I'm very distractible. And we have lots of birds and things that happen in my backyard here. So I apologize for every time a squirrel goes by, because it is squirrel. A lot of people know that about me. But we all respond to things because of what's happened in our past. And what's happened to me may be different than happened to you, and so you respond differently to an experience. And I mean, I even see it. I am the oldest of 3 girls, and I have 3 girls. And we can go back and talk about things that happened growing up, and we can have three different stories because we're three different people with three different personalities and we see things so differently. And same with my daughters. You know, we raise them all the same, but they all have different perspectives about life and what they went through. So we need to acknowledge that people feel the way that they do about something. And you can have a better conversation with somebody if you agree, not with, you can disagree with what they're talking about, but you can agree with how they're feeling. And an example, if you, well, let's just say you disagree with somebody and right away they say something and you're like, nope, what happens to that? Either a wall comes up that they don't want to talk with you, or they're ready to fight. And neither one is great. So if we can take the time to listen to each other, which I do struggle with, and so does most people, because we do have that need to always be right. It satisfies our craving. We have a craving. We are born with a craving to be right. And so an example, quite a few years ago, my husband was going to go up north with a friend. And they were going to stay with family. And one of the family was having major surgery, like just days before they were going to go up there. Well, this person who was going to have major surgery didn't really feel comfortable having people she didn't know in her house. She wasn't really comfortable with many people being in her house because she was recovering from surgery. She would be recovering from surgery and she didn't know what that was going to be like. And so she asked my husband not to bring anybody along. And so he had to call and talk to his friend and tell him, I'm sorry, it's not going to work out this time. And he explained the situation. Well, that friend got angry and did not speak to my husband for months. And he wanted an apology from my husband. And I'm like, how can you apologize for something that you had no control over? So we talked it through, and their family came over. I used to cut hair, and so they came over and got their hair cut like once a month, the couple and their children. And she came without him quite a few times. And so, you know, when you're a person who does not like conflict and having conflict around you, we tried to figure out how we could take care of this situation. And I don't know if you guys have heard of peacemakers, but peacemakers, I don't know, I believe they're still around, but they teach people how to deal with conflict. And my husband and I had been trained in that many, many years ago, but it was right around this time. And we decided that he needed to make a phone call to his friend and apologize for how he felt. Not, I'm sorry for what I did, because he didn't have control over the situation, but he could apologize for, I'm really sorry for how you're feeling and how this impacted you. But I had no control over the situation, and I know it must have felt kind of horrible. And immediately, that's all this guy needed to hear, was that his feelings were validated and that my husband cared about him. So, what conversations can you change where you can have a different impact on people? one of the great stories I was reading from Grant Cardone over a year ago, and he told about how he was challenging people to agree with somebody. Find a way each day to agree with somebody, probably in your family or somebody that you work with. It doesn't have to be agree with their opinions about something, but to find a way to agree. I always forget that this light's gonna go out. Sorry. But to find a way to agree with how they're feeling about something. And he gave the example of he saw a puppy and he loves dogs. And so he took a picture of this puppy and he went home and he said, I saw a beautiful puppy today. And his wife's first reaction was, we have 3 dogs. We can't have a 4th dog in this house. And so he decided to agree with her, and he said, yes, I agree. You're right. And she said, did you say I'm right? And he was like, yeah, you're right. And she said, can I see the picture of the puppy? So she showed him the picture of the puppy, and they have 4 dogs in their house now. And I mean, think about it. If he would have said, oh, come on, we can add 1 more dog, it would have probably started an argument. But because he agreed with her, it opened up her thinking to actually think about having another dog. So I challenge you today, how can you can actually add joy in somebody's life by just agreeing with how they're feeling, or agreeing that they might be right and not fighting for you to be right. So I give you that challenge, and who knows, you could spark some joy. But look for joy moments today. They are out there waiting for you to see them. I will see you tomorrow. You have a great night.